Hey guys, Crazy Postman here. Well, you joined me on a very windy day in Oklahoma, which is kind of normal around here, with my Luba 3. Now this Luba 3 here has a hard job. It lives on this 3-acre property and it's very stick-filled and dusty and dirty. Obviously, its size limitations are 1.25 acres. So I can only map the backyard. It is completely full. It will not allow me to map anymore. When I first got this Luba, it only let me go to 5,000 exactly. But now with recent updates, they've seemed to expanded it to 5,100 square meters. So there is a little buffer there, but it is still limited to its rated size. You can't really go much over the 5,000. Mammotion did release an update with this current generation of Mammotion mowers. They have a feature called Drop Mow, and it doesn't have a map. You just put it into a yard and it magically knows where to go. So we're gonna put that to an extreme test today. So like I said, the backyard is already all mapped and the memory is full. I'm going to be taking Luba into the front yard and show you how you can use it on a larger area, but you're limited in the fact that it will not save the map. If you have an enclosed yard with a fence on all the borders, you can just throw it back there and tell it to go and it will work. Now, if you have a yard like mine where it's just open on one side, you can pause Luba while it's working and put a virtual boundary over there and then tell it to continue, and it will continue on mowing on its drop and mow and avoid this area. But for now, we're gonna start on the other side of the front yard and see how far we go because it's more closed in. So we're gonna have it start right here where this shadow touches the grass. And we're gonna have it just start mowing and see how far it goes. Now you can see this is already pretty freshly mowed because we do have another Luba 1 that maintains this whole front yard. This is gonna be a best case scenario on how far it can get on one battery because it's not really having to cut much. So there won't be much pressure on the motors to put more power out. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put it out here. I'm gonna have it mow its fastest speed and its widest setting. And we're gonna see how far we can get on drop mow before it runs out of its battery. And we're also gonna see on how difficult it is if I have to do any rescuing, if I have to add any virtual fences in. You can see Luba 1 hasn't mowed the other half of the front yard. I don't know if you can see that dividing line on the camera, but that second half of the front yard has not been mowed yet, only this front part. And then after that, if I'm still here, this is gonna take hours. I don't know if I wanna wait for all this because I don't live here. We may see if we can go charge it. Let's go get Luba and drop it over there and tell it to mow. So here it is, we're about to start this drop mow. Now first I wanna say this was just sprayed off yesterday. For everybody that says we don't keep it clean, this is just what it turns into after one day of mowing in the backyard here. So I don't spray it off every day. It just is what it is. It's fine. It's a nice camouflage. So many wasp. Get out of here, wasp. I just saw where that wasp went. I'm gonna spray and try not to hit my cameras or anything. So many wasp around here. I like bees, but these wasp, that's an automatic death sentence. They're so mean, especially these red ones. I've already killed this one, mostly. I'm about to step on him because he's starting to move. Oh man, I splattered Luba with the wasp spray. Maybe I should spray it off. I sprayed off the top of Luba, used the leaf blower to dry off the sensor area so it can't skew the results by having a water drop on it. So here's what you do to start drop and mow. Now once you do this and it starts its drop and mow process, then you can adjust some of its mowing parameters like travel speed and blade height. So we'll get it started and then we'll go into the map and adjust the details, and then we will just let it go out here and see how far and how good it does. So to start drop and mow, all you do is hold the grass button for 3 seconds. Drop mow started. And then you hit the start button. Now let's go into the app and adjust some settings.
Start working.
So here you are in the map. It's going to look in the area of where it started. It's going to turn a little circle. So we're going to immediately pause it, and we're going to adjust some settings here. So we're going to have it go really fast, have it cut pretty low, and we're going to do very wide.
Continue working.
It is 1250. We're going to see how long this takes and how good it does. And we're going to watch it and see if we have to actually install any virtual barriers. So it's already made its first turnaround, and it turned around at the edge of the yard up there like it should have. I'm just now realizing I should have probably bought a second phone to do the screen recording on so I can still film this. But I will occasionally flip over to the app and show you what it looks like in the app during this process. When it gets over here near the pond, I may especially kind of watch it just to make sure it doesn't take a bath. But besides that, there's really no places that it can get in terrible trouble out here. So it's actually working back towards the inside of this sidewalk now, because it did a strip right there and then it went over to get closer. It really needs to go back and do one more, unless it plans on doing that in like the final edge pass. So it is turning around at the right places, and it's making pretty decent normal time here. So we will switch over to the time lapse and just let it continue. So I do have it on sensitive, and I guess it's going to go around that dirt patch in the lawn. I could lower the settings to standard and it would just drive over that, or we could put a mowing area on the map. Let me pause it and we'll do that. So here we are back in the app. I just paused it, and you can see this little dot right here on the map where it saw that dirt area and it wasn't going to go over it. So this is how you fix that. You go into the create menu and you put obstacle free zone right here. We don't have to make it that big, but you get the point. So this is just me telling the robot, hey, in this area, there is no obstacles. It is safe to just continue on. We will do that, add that to the map, and then we will tell it to continue on. Get out of here, continue working, and there you go. So it's starting back up from that little map edit, and it's turning around right at the border of the pond, just like it should. That is excellent. Now it should go over this little dirt area without considering it an obstacle. You can see it's slowing down because it does consider there's an obstacle there, but because it's set as a no stop zone, it doesn't completely stop. And there it goes, plowing right through that dirt, just like it wasn't there before. So right now, it's over here in this little triangle of the yard. Let's see how far it goes out, because the lawn just kind of blends into the driveway here. Decided to get back on its line and head out. The line it's on is not exactly even. It's kind of at an angle, and that has to do with the way it started back over there, because it started kind of crooked. I wonder how far it's going to go this direction. Well, Luba has decided to go all the way across the lawn now. So you can see where it was working over there. And it is just going to cross all the way now. So we're gonna have to put a virtual barrier over here in just a second. If it gets all the way to the edge of the property line, I'm gonna hit pause and then we'll go in the screen recording and I'll put a virtual barrier in. So we're gonna edit its little world here. We're gonna create a virtual fence. This fence is going to go right here. It's going to go straight down that way, and then it's going to go straight back this way. So it should not cross this little virtual barrier now. So we're going to save this, and then we're going to tell it to continue on. So there's what it looks like. I made it pretty long, so maybe we don't have to worry about it again. So now we're just going to tell it to continue. So it should just turn around pretty much instantly once it starts moving forward. There you go. So it hit its little virtual barrier, and that should just go straight down this row, 500 or 600 feet that way, and straight down the property line this way. You can see that pole and that tree, that's the property line. So it's just going to continue on now. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the time-lapse camera with it doing this wide of a swath. That'll be hard to capture. We'll move it and see if we can find somewhere useful to put it. So you can see we were having trouble in here. It was like skipping a lot of lines. So I went ahead and highlighted this whole area with a no stop zone. That way it won't have any trouble. I don't know if it was the shadows or the leaves on the ground. There's some patchy leaf coverage on the ground, but it was having a tough time over here. So I gave it a no stop zone. And I also put another virtual fence over there so it'll give it a stopping place instead of just continuing on forever, because I would like it to continue in that direction because the backyard is already mapped. We don't need it to cut the backyard. Now y'all can see what I did to troubleshoot some of these things to have it continue doing what I want it to do instead of what it wants to do. I guess it can't really see this grass barrier over here because it hasn't been weed eated, so it's been ramming into it pretty hard instead of stopping. Well, it didn't ram into it hard, but it did use the bumper. You can see how that barrier is camouflaged. Over here where it's been weed eated, it's much more clear, but that is kind of a tricky barrier there, so I'll give it that. Well, it seems to have gotten itself stuck over here. Let's see what it's stuck on. Ah, this is Luba kryptonite here. That little space between the bumper and the wheel seems to always catch stuff in there. So we will tell it to continue, and I will help it get out of here.
Continue working.
There we go. So it'll now turn around and continue on its path. Luba kryptonite. I guess we're getting a second pass over this part of the front yard. It's decided to come back over here and get this whole little section again. It will be cut extra nice, I suppose. Not sure why it made that choice, but it did. By the way, I'm pretty sure I've been standing in poison ivy over here. This isn't going to be fun later. I didn't even notice. Sorry, this clip is going to get kind of long because my editing software only lets me speed this up to 100x, and when I'm screen recording, it screen records it in real time. But I thought I would leave this in because it looks really cool how Luba expands the map as it's working, and you can see over there on the right, there's this little island that it made. That's a little flower bed over there, and it knew to keep out of it without me doing anything. So I just think this is awesome how it expands the map as it's going along. So this clip is almost over, just a few more seconds, and we will jump in here in real time. Well, I thought we would come out here and do an update. It's about 50% of the way through the battery, and we've completed roughly 11,000 square feet. And it is basically going back and forth all the way across now. And it has done a double cut over here. You can see one of them was kind of straight and one of them was a little bit crooked. I still don't know why it came back and did this side twice. But now it's working out here further into the yard. It worked its way around this little island here. You can see that reflected on the map. Well, the Luba is down to about 11% battery. I'm not sure how long it's gonna go until it decides to stop. It's literally done about 2/3 of the front yard. It's getting into this area over here under this tree where there's no grass. So it stopped doing its nice back and forths because it decided it doesn't want to mow under here. And to be fair, I don't have the regular Luba mapped under this tree either, because there's a lot of rocks and stuff under here. You can see all the rocks. There's rocks over there. That's left over from the flood. When the creek flooded that runs back there, we got about 6 feet of water in here. So about that high on the tree. All the gravel that was on the driveway just came into the yard. So I don't know when it's gonna decide to go back, but it probably won't go too much longer. And it's supposed to go back to that that park location. Now you can see the side lights are blinking right now. So it's either telling me the battery is low right now, or it's telling me it's working under this tree and it lost the RTK signal, which could be possible. But it may be because the battery's low, which it is. I just don't know how low it's gonna go before it decides to stop. As kind of a funny side note, if y'all remember my last video where I was reviewing a Cobalt electric lawnmower out here, this Luba has mowed about as much on its battery as the electric Cobalt has mowed on its battery. The Cobalt probably got a little bit further than Luba did, but if you remember, for some reason this Luba did a double cut up there on the yard. So task has been paused. I just got a notification on my watch. I don't know if y'all can see that. So it's gonna go back to the parking location and it will be done. The only bad thing about Drop Mow is it doesn't save this map. So if you wanted to continue mowing after you charged it, you would have to bring Luba out here and set it in this area and then build a virtual fence across, so it doesn't go back and try to remow everything it did already. So there is ways around the size cap limit, but it's not easy and you got to put in a little work. And it's going to face literally exactly where it started. This is exactly to the inch where I started it. Okay guys, we're back here in the recording. I'm gonna try something. Oh, we gotta turn on the Bluetooth connection. You can see the map is still persisting even after it parked. So I don't know if this is possible, but I'm gonna manually drive it around to the charging station and see if I can get it to charge, and then manually drive it back out and see if I can get it to resume without disrupting this temporary map. I'm going to drive it to the charging station, and I'm also going to manually back it in I'm not gonna hit the charge button. We gotta come around the house and cross this virtual barrier here. Okay, I'm very slowly backing it into the docking station right now, hoping I can get it just right to touch the charging pins.
Start charging.
So it is charging, and I haven't lost the map yet. So we're gonna pause. I'm gonna let this charge for a while, and then we're gonna see if we can get it to resume. This is hilarious. I didn't even know this was possible. So some time has passed and it's charged back up to 51%. I am just curious if we're gonna be able to continue this. I'm very happy this is possible because that will help people use their robot to the fullest. Yeah, it's gonna require some extra work, but it can happen. I like things that aren't artificially limited. So yeah, the map is limited to 5,100 meters, but with Drop Mow, you can do as much as you want as long as you put in the time to do a little tweaking to the map on the fly with the virtual fences and such. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing to continue. All right, so we got to connect the Bluetooth here. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull it off the charger, and then we're gonna go back around the house and start back in the front yard where we left off. We're gonna see if it will continue without having to start over. So now we're gonna get on the other side of this virtual fence. I'll probably just manually drive it really close to where that pause sign is on the map just to make sure it knows where it is. It does appear to know where it is on the map already. I could probably just hit continue and it would drive out there, but I'm gonna drive out there anyway. Here we go. I'm gonna hit start and see if it continues. Well guys, I think we're gonna call it an end to this episode. This was a pretty good experiment. Now we've learned what exactly you can do with the Drop and Mow feature. As long as you're at the same property. Oh, it just went over a stick out there. I heard that. It backed up, but just a little bit too late. If you're at the same property that your charger is at, you can manually drive your Luba to the charger so it still knows where it is in the world. You saw that it knew where it was on the map when I was driving it to the charger, and I let it charge, and then I physically drove it back to where the map it was building was located, and it continued. I don't think this would work if you had to pick it up, but since I was able to just drive it to the backyard, it worked. Thanks for watching this episode. I think it was a fun one. We learned a lot today. I'll see y'all in the next one. So I'm gonna record driving this thing back to the charger again, now that I'm not worried about saving the map. And when I get it close to the charger, I'm gonna hit the recharge button and see if it will back in automatically. I'm pretty far away from it right now. The Bluetooth is pretty strong with the Luba 3. There were times in today's video where I was sitting in the house and it was out here in the front yard. So like I said earlier, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get it over here near where the charger is, and then I'm gonna face the butt towards the charger so it can pick up the infrared signal, and I'm gonna hit this charger button and see if it'll back in. The butt is facing the charger. Here, let me turn my camera back on. There you go. The butt is facing the charger, so I'm just going to hit this recharge button here.
Start recharging.
It did a spin instead of just backing in. Okay, that didn't work. So you are gonna have to manually, very carefully back it into the charger yourself, because I don't think you can pick up Luba or it will lose where it is on the map. I suppose we can test that real quick since the map doesn't matter anymore. Let me set this over here. I can't really adjust this camera, so it just is what it is. All right, I'm gonna pick it up now, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna walk around the back side of this fence and see if it moves on the map.
The front wheel lifted. The robot tilted.
I think it should just show where it was. Yeah, see, now it's blinking. Is it blinking? My hypothesis, I can't say that word.
It is pronounced hypothesis.
My hypothesis has been confirmed. You can't pick it up off the ground. You have to manually drive it for this to work. So now I'm gonna drive it back, but it doesn't know where it's at now because I picked it up. Look, see, it thinks it's facing the wrong direction. It thinks it's driving the wrong way. So its reference point is completely screwed up compared to the map now. So if you've picked up your Luba, you have screwed up your map. Editor Crazy Postman here. I didn't see this at the time, but it looks like it recovered. After I started driving it, it figured out where it was, and now it's at the correct location on the map again. Let's see. I'm gonna back it into the charging bay. Oh.
Start charging. Start charging.
There we go. I kind of crashed it. You have to drive a little bit slower. This is really the end now. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.